Köszönjük, hogy velünk tartottatok eddig is. Kérlek, hallgassátok szeretettel ebben a részben is Jenny Chambers-t, aki a kutatás részleteibe avat be bennünket, hogy hogyan zajlik most, ő mit vállal a kutatásban, milyen munkát végez, és hogy milyen eredményeket értek el.
Could you please give me advices how to spread the knowledge about ICP here in Hungary? What is your advice?
Oh, what you've been doing. Do what you've been doing. Get magazines, newspapers, television. I think the sad thing is it does take stories like ours to get people to listen. Shouldn't be like that, but it is. So you are just doing wonderfully. You've achieved so much in such a short time. And then if you can talk to midwives and talk to doctors, eventually the word will spread. It will.
I hope so.
Yeah, it will. It does take time. I would very much hope, with all the research we have, and there is a really important guideline coming out, hopefully by the end of this year, by an institution called the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. They are known throughout the world. There is going to be an updated guideline on cholestasis coming out, and I think that's going to really help. So getting that translated, and as we know, that in itself is not simple, translating documents. But that translated, I think other doctors will find that really, really helpful, obstetricians particularly. And just keep trying to get people to write about it and talk about it.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'd like to ask you about the research. How many doctors are in these research groups, and how difficult is it to find material and technical sources for the research? Is it hard?
Do you mean participants, women to take part, or do you mean the actual
or financial?
Yeah. Okay. It is hard. It is hard. Yeah. Research costs a lot of money. So, for example, we had a meeting last week with the researchers and with women, and they were talking about what sort of research they would like to have done and coming up with some fantastic ideas, most of which Professor Williamson has thought about, but which cost a lot of money. So just, for example, getting a PhD student to come in and support them for their PhD for 3 years would cost just over £100,000. A study that we want to do that would follow women after they've had ICP and follow them through for several years to see how their health goes, because as you know, once you've had this condition, you have a higher chance of developing things like gallstones and liver disease. So just a simple study like that would cost 2 or 3 million. I know. But I think my professor has just done amazing over the years. And I was just sat here trying to work out how many is in our group, because it changes all the time, because they get PhD students coming in and they stay with us for 3 years and they go sometimes and do other work, and then new ones come in. There's got to be 10 in the research group at least, I think. And then I think in groups around the world, again, I don't know, somebody like Bill Haig in Adelaide, Australia, he's doing research. So he's on his own, but he has other sort of doctors supporting his studies. And the Spanish group, Jose Marin, I think there might be, again, the similar sort of numbers in his group as Cass' group, maybe between 6 and 10. In the US, not really so many research groups, or there isn't quite so much research being done into cholestasis. That doesn't mean to say it's not being done, that's not true, but I think not so much in the way of research is being done over there. The bulk, the sort of the majority of it is being driven from the UK. Does that answer your question?
Yes. And I know that you are active on Facebook, on your Facebook page, ICP Support. And could you please tell me how many time do you spend during a day with this Facebook group? So how could you manage this Facebook page with your research work?
Running the charity, yeah. Well, it's interesting that you asked me that question. And about a month ago, I couldn't really have told you exactly how much time I spend because the charity is growing and we need to see how many hours we're all doing. I actually had to sit and sort of work out how much time I spend doing all the charity. And for the charity, I spend around 55 hours a week.
Oh.
Yeah. And then for the research work, I work part-time. I cut down from full-time to part-time to be able to do the charity. That's not too bad. That's 2 days a week. That's 14 hours.
And in Hungary is very strict to give medical advices when you are not a professional, of course. And how did you manage this topic on Facebook, on this Facebook group? So as I know, as I understand, you gave medical advices. How did you cope with this problem?
Okay, so we always make it very clear in our Facebook groups that none of us who answer questions are doctors or midwives. That's really, really important. We want to work with health professionals. They're the ones that have trained for years and years to do their jobs. Where we are expert is in our knowledge of the condition and our knowledge about the research, and that's what we share with women. So I have a few women who help me with this. They give their time up for free and help where they can. And when we answer questions, we answer it. We don't say things like, you must do this, you must go and do this. We give the information. So, for example, about being tested for cholestasis, somebody might say, oh, I'm itching really badly and I don't know what to do, and the doctor isn't really taking it seriously, and what should I do? So what we always tend to say is, well, what we would suggest is that you go to your hospital and you ask for these tests to be performed. This is where the information is on our website, and you can show your doctors the information. And just to reassure them, two of us who run the charity, so Dr. Peter Dixon is a trustee of the charity along with me. We work in research, but we are very, very careful to make it clear all the time that we're not doctors. That's so important.
And could you please describe to us what kind of tasks are delegated to you in the research?
Right, so what I tend to do in the research is I help set new studies up. So I help with all the paperwork for that. So things like helping with the information sheet, the consent form, the protocol, that will be written by the scientist, but I will help to put it all together. And then I help to put all the documents together and submit them to what we call our research ethics committee over here in the UK. They have to be properly approved. They also have to be approved at the hospital as well. And then when the study is up and running, I help recruit women, so I can sign women up to do the research. And if we think about our main research study, which has been going since 2008, a typical thing I would do there at the hospital is I would sign somebody up if they were interested and they wanted to take part. I would probably take some blood samples from them. I would, every time they came to the hospital for testing, I would have a little tube of blood for our research. I'd also get some urine from them. They would give me a score of how bad their itch was. And then I would follow them right the way through until they had their baby. And we might collect the placenta, and we might collect the cord blood. And the cord blood is really about genetic testing. And then I help process those samples. They all get stored in a freezer, and then the scientists can come and use them. They may need some data from that participant. They might need to know, what her bile acid concentrations were like, how badly did she itch. So I supply all that information to them. So it's a really interesting job. I love it.
Nagyon köszönöm, hogy meghallgattátok ezt a részt, és kérlek, tartsatok velünk a következőkben is, mert nagyon izgalmas részek következnek.